Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to cut through the noise and really extract the gems of knowledge for you.
Exactly. We know you're the learner, looking to grasp key ideas quickly, thoroughly.
Yeah, hungry for those aha moments and definitely not keen on feeling overwhelmed.
Right. So today, our focus is laser sharp. We're diving deep into Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
And we're using a summary from summaries.com as our guide, sort of our map for this exploration.
A good map, too. It helps distill Covey's core framework.
And just to set the scene, Covey wasn't just an academic. He co-founded Franklin Covey, right? A major player in leadership development.
He really was. Walk the talk. He wrote other influential books, too, building on these ideas.
So what's our mission today with this deep dive?
Well, fundamentally, it's to really get under the hood of the 7 habits, understand the core principles,
Okay.
and show how they offer, a structured way to tackle those personal and professional challenges you might be facing, a principle-driven approach.
Got it. And there's this central theme, this journey he talks about.
Exactly. Moving from dependence, relying on others, towards independence, which is self-reliance.
But it doesn't stop there, does it?
No, the ultimate goal is interdependence, where we work together effectively, leveraging strengths.
And that's built on, what does he call them, private and public victories.
Precisely. Private victories, first self-mastery, then public victories working well with others.
Mm.
Okay, let's dig into the foundation. Paradigms and principles.
Right. So paradigms. That's basically how we see the world, our mental filters.
You got it. Think of it like your internal map of reality. It shapes how you interpret everything.
Like, you could give two people the exact same situation and they'd see it completely differently because their maps are different.
Exactly. Your paradigm dictates your perspective, your interpretation. And Covey says the key is developing paradigms based on principles.
Principles being, what, fundamental truth, enduring guidelines.
Yes, exactly. Timeless truths about human behavior that consistently lead to positive outcomes. Natural laws, really.
Yeah. Okay, and this leads to that interesting point he makes about the shift in success literature.
Oh, yeah, that's fascinating. Before World War I, the focus was heavily on what he calls the character ethic.
Things like integrity, humility, fairness, courage, the core of who you are.
Right, that was seen as the bedrock of success. But then, after WWI, there was a shift.
Towards the personality ethic.
Exactly. More emphasis on image, attitudes, skills, techniques, how you appear, communication styles, positive thinking.
So more surface level stuff compared to the deep character focus.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
Covey argues that while the personality ethic has value skills are useful, it's the character ethic that provides the truly lasting foundation.
Makes sense. Relying only on techniques without the character base. It's like trying to build a house on sand.
Right. He compares it to cramming for a test. You might pass, but you haven't really learned or built a solid understanding.
And that quote, what we are communicates far more eloquently than anything we say or do. You can't fake character long term.
You really can't. People sense authenticity, or the lack of it. So the 7 habits are designed to build that character ethic from the inside out.
They embody these fundamental principles then.
Precisely. They're about internalizing these correct principles for lasting happiness and success.
Going back to the map analogy, our paradigms are our maps, but they need to be based on principles, the actual territory, to be useful.
Absolutely. And because our maps are subjective, sincere people can see the same territory very differently. They have different paradigms.
Which is why understanding our own paradigms is so critical. We need to become aware of our maps and test them against reality.
Yes, constantly check if your map actually matches the terrain. Be willing to adjust it. He references Thomas Kuhn's work on paradigm shifts in science.
Ah, like those huge breakthroughs where everyone's understanding fundamentally changes.
Exactly. We need to be open to those personal paradigm shifts too, testing our assumptions against principles.
And these principles, the foundation of the character ethic. What are some examples?
Things like fairness, integrity, honesty, human dignity, service, quality, recognizing human potential. These aren't fads. They're enduring truths.
So the 7 Habits framework isn't just a list of tips, it's a whole approach.
It's a principle-centered, character-based, inside-out approach. It's about changing ourselves first, our core paradigms, not just our outward behavior, a real paradigm shift in thinking.
That really sets the stage. He quotes some powerful voices on this. David Starr Jordan.
Yes, there is no real excellence in all this world which can be separated from right living. And William George Jordan.
Something about our silent influence being based on who we really are.
Exactly. What man really is, not what he pretends to be. And Einstein's point.
Oh, right, about not solving problems at the same level of thinking that created them. You need a shift.
Precisely. And T.S. Eliot's beautiful line, we must not cease from exploration and know the place for the first time. It's about deeper understanding through this principled lens.
Okay, powerful foundation, paradigms, principles, character ethic. Let's get into the habits themselves now.
Right. So Covey says our character is basically a composite of our habits.
And a habit isn't just something you do automatically. It's more complex.
Yes, it's the intersection of three things.
Mm,
Knowledge, knowing what to do and why. Skill, knowing how to do it. And desire, the motivation, the want to do it.
you need all three. Got it.
You need the what, the how, and the want to.
And he has that interesting definition of happiness. Sacrificing immediate wants for eventual goals.
Yeah, that really frames the long-term perspective needed. It's about discipline and vision.
Okay, so the habits themselves, there's a progression.
A very logical one.
Yeah.
Habits 1, 2, and 3 are the private victories. That's about self-mastery, moving towards independence.
Mastering yourself first.
Exactly. Then habits 4, 5, and 6 are the public victories. These focus on working effectively with others, achieving interdependence.
Building on that independence.
Right. And finally, habit 7, sharpen the saw, is about continuous renewal, keeping everything effective.
Before we dive into habit 1, there's this PPC balance idea. Can you unpack that?
Sure, it's crucial. P stands for production of the desired results you want. Think of it as the golden eggs.
Okay, the output.
Right. And PC stands for production capability, the asset or the ability that produces those results. That's the goose that lays the golden eggs.
Ah, the analogy helps. So you need both the eggs and a healthy goose.
Exactly. If you focus only on P maximizing egg production right now and neglect PC feeding and caring for the goose eventually, the goose gets sick or dies and the eggs stop.
So short-term gains at the expense of long-term capacity.
Precisely. True effectiveness requires balancing both. Getting results now, P, while also maintaining and enhancing your ability to get results in the future.
PC. Whether that's maintaining equipment, investing in relationships, or taking care of your own health.
All examples of nurturing PC. It applies everywhere. That quote from Thomas Paine fits here too.
About things easily obtained being litly valued.
Yes. It is dearness only which gives everything its value. Investing in PC, maintaining that capability, gives lasting value to the P that results.
Okay, that balance is key. Let's get into habit 1 then. Be proactive. Sounds simple, but what's the core?
The core is recognizing our uniquely human ability to choose our response between a stimulus and what we do next. We aren't just programmed robots reacting to things.
Because of self-awareness, that ability to think about our own thinking.
Exactly. That's the foundation. Unlike animals driven by instinct, we can step back, observe our thoughts, and choose.
And there are other endowments too.
Yes, 4 key ones. Self-awareness, imagination, our ability to create beyond our present reality, conscience, our inner sense of right and wrong, and independent will, our ability to act based on our self-awareness, free from other influences.
These allow us to choose our response. So responsibility is literally the ability to respond.
You got it. It's taking ownership. Proactive people use these endowments. They subordinate feelings and impulses to their values.
Whereas reactive people are driven by feelings, circumstances, conditions.
Right. They're often affected by the social weather. Proactive people carry their own weather.
And it's our response to difficult things that often shapes us most, right? Not the events themselves.
Absolutely. Difficulty can forge character if we respond proactively, based on principles.
Now, proactive doesn't mean being pushy or aggressive.
Not at all. It's about controlling things from the inside out. Focusing your energy on your circle of influence, things you can affect, rather than wasting energy on the wider circle of concern, things you can only worry about.
Makes sense. Focus where you can make a difference.
And realizing that while we choose our actions, we don't choose the consequences. Those are governed by natural law, by principles.
Like gravity. You can choose to drop something, but you can't choose for it not to fall.
Perfect analogy. And we build these proactive muscles in everyday situations, how we handle small frustrations or commitments.
Okay, so habit 1 is about taking responsibility, choosing our response based on values. What about habit 2? Begin with the end in mind.
This one's about having a clear destination, using a vision of your desired future, your character, contributions, achievements, as the frame of reference for everything you do today.
Keeping the long-term perspective always in view.
Exactly. It prevents climbing the ladder of success only to find it's against the wrong wall. It's about ensuring your busyness is actually effective.
Not just spinning your wheels, however efficiently.
Right. Covey talks about the principle of two creations. Everything is created twice.
First mentally, then physically.
Yes. First, the blueprint, the idea, the plan, the mental creation. Then the actual building, the action, the physical creation. Habit 2 is about taking charge of that first creation.
Consciously designing your life, your script, instead of just reacting to scripts others give you or circumstances impose.
Precisely. He uses that great analogy of the jungle clearing.
Oh yeah, the managers are down below, efficiently cutting the undergrowth.
While the leader climbs the tallest tree, surveys the scene, and yells, "Wrong jungle!"
Huh. Huh. That perfectly illustrates the difference between management, efficiency, doing things right, and leadership, effectiveness, doing the right things. Habit 2 is leadership.
It absolutely is. Are you even in the right jungle? That's the first question. And a key tool for this is developing a personal mission statement.
Like a personal constitution, defining who you want to be, what you want to do, and your guiding values.
Exactly that. It becomes your anchor, your basis for making important decisions, aligning your actions with your deepest values.
And ideally, it should be centered on correct principles, not shifting opinions or fleeting goals.
Yes, principles provide stable, long-term guidance. Centering on them gives you wisdom and direction independent of external factors.
Writing one sounds like a deep process, not something you dash off.
Definitely not. It requires deep introspection, using both your logical left brain and your intuitive, creative right brain.
How do you tap into the right brain for this?
Visualization is key. Covey suggests imagining your own funeral, what would you want said, or your 50th anniversary, or retirement day. What character qualities, what contributions would matter most then?
Those exercises really force you to think about the end in mind.
They do. They clarify your core values. And personal leadership doesn't stop with writing the statement. It's an ongoing process.
Aligning your life with it daily, using it to create affirmations.
Yes, creating affirmations that are personal, positive, present tense, visual, and emotional. Research shows visualization is incredibly powerful for peak performers.
Okay, so we have our destination defined, habit 2. Now, how do we navigate the day-to-day to get there? Habit 3, put first things first.
Right. This is where effective self-management comes in. But it's not just traditional time management. It's about prioritizing based on importance, not just urgency.
And spending most of your time on the important, non-urgent stuff.
Exactly. That's the heart of Habit 3. He uses the time management matrix.
The 4 quadrants. Let's break those down. Quadrant 1.
Important and urgent. Crises, deadlines, pressing problems, we have to deal with these. But living here leads to burnout.
Okay.
Quadrant 3.
Urgent, but not important. Interruptions, some meetings, some calls, often driven by others' priorities. Feels urgent, but doesn't contribute much to your goals. The deceptive quadrant. And quadrant 4.
Not important and not urgent. Time wasters, busy work, trivia. We escape here sometimes, but it's unproductive.
Which leaves the crucial one, quadrant 2.
Important, but not urgent. This is where effectiveness lies. Prevention, planning, relationship building, learning, preparation, recreation.
The things that build long-term capacity and prevent quadrant 1 crises from happening in the first place.
Precisely. The goal is to shrink Quadrant 1 by spending more time proactively in Quadrant 2.
So, effective people aren't problem-minded, they're opportunity-minded. They think preventively.
Absolutely. And to spend time in Quadrant 2, you have to learn to say no to Quadrant 3 and 4 activities. Politely, but firmly.
Which requires knowing your priorities, having that mission statement from Habit 2 as your guide.
Yes. Your yes to Quadrant 2 necessitates a no to other things. How you spend your time reveals your true priorities.
And managing from Quadrant 2 balances P and PC, getting things done, and building capacity centered on principles.
Right. He lists criteria for Quadrant 2 organizing. Coherence, aligns with mission. Balance, covers key roles. Quadrant 2 focus, weekly organizing. A people dimension, flexibility, and portability.
And the practical steps. Identify roles.
Yes, identify your key roles, spouse, parent, manager, individual, etc. Then select weekly goals for each role, Quadrant 2 goals.
Then schedule time for those goals, like appointments with yourself.
Exactly. Schedule those priorities. Don't just prioritize your schedule, schedule your priorities. And finally, adapt daily as needed, but keep the focus on the important goals.
It's about organizing your week around priorities, not just reacting. That Goethe quote comes to mind.
Things which matter most must never be at the mercy of things which matter least. Powerful.
And E.M. Gray's finding about successful people doing things failures don't like to do, because they have purpose.
Right. They subordinate feelings to values. And Drucker and Bennis. Management is doing things right. Leadership is doing the right things. Habit 3 is doing the right things day by day.
Okay, habits 1, 2, 3, the private victories, building independence. Now we shift to the public victories, interdependence.
Exactly. And effective interdependence, working well with others, absolutely requires that foundation of independence first. You can only choose interdependence if you are independent.
Makes sense. You can't contribute meaningfully to a team if you haven't got your own act together.
Precisely. And the most critical ingredient you bring to any relationship is simply who you are, your character. Techniques and skills matter, but they're secondary to your core integrity.
People sense authenticity.
They do. Which leads perfectly into the concept of the emotional bank account.
Ah, yes, the relationship metaphor, making deposits and withdrawals.
Exactly. Think of trust as an emotional bank account. You make deposits through courtesy, kindness, honesty, keeping promises, understanding the other person.
And a high balance means high trust, smooth communication, room for mistakes.
Right. Mistakes become minor issues when the trust level is high. But if the balance is low or overdrawn,
Then even small misunderstandings can become major blow-ups. Withdrawals are things like rudeness, breaking commitments, disrespect, betrayal.
correct. Covey lists 6 major ways to make deposits. 1. Understand the individual deeply. 2. Attend to the little kindnesses and courtesies. 3. Keep your commitments, big and small. 4. Clarify expectations clearly up front. 5. Show personal integrity, especially loyalty to those not present. 6. Apologize sincerely when you make a withdrawal.
It's about consistently building that trust. Samuel Johnson's quote fits.
There can be no friendship without confidence and no confidence without integrity. Spot on.
And Dag Hammarskjöld on the difficulty of giving yourself to one individual.
A profound point about the depth required in real relationships. And Oliver Wendell Holmes.
What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. It always comes back to character.
Always. That internal foundation is key for public victories. Which brings us to habit 4. Think win-win.
Okay, seeking mutual benefit. Not just my way or your way, but a better way together.
That's the goal. It's a frame of mind and heart that constantly seeks solutions where everyone feels good about the decision and committed to the plan.
He talks about 6 paradigms of interaction. Win-win is just one.
Right. There's win-lose, the competitive authoritarian approach. If I win, you lose.
Lose-win, the doormat approach. Go ahead, have your way.
Lose-lose when conflict escalates and everyone suffers, like bitter lawsuits.
Win-focused only on getting what you want, regardless of others.
And then the 2 positive ones. Win-win, seeking mutual benefit.
And win-win or no deal, which sounds really useful.
It is. It means if we can't find a solution that benefits us both, we agree not to make a deal. No hard feelings. It preserves the relationship for future win-win possibilities.
Yeah.
Hugely important in ongoing relationships.
So how do we cultivate win-win thinking? He breaks it down.
Into 5 dimensions. First, character. You need integrity, true to your values. Maturity, balancing courage to state your needs with consideration for others. And,
The abundance mentality, believing there's plenty for everybody.
exactly, as opposed to the scarcity mentality, which sees life as a fixed pie. If you get more, I get less. Abundance mentality is crucial for win-win.
Okay, character first, then relationships.
Yes. You need that high emotional bank account balance. Trust is the foundation for win-win. You need to focus on the issue, not the personalities or past grievances.
Even if the other person isn't thinking win-win initially.
Especially then, you proactively work towards it. Third dimension, agreements.
These need to be clear about results, guidelines, resources, accountability, and consequences. Less focus on how, more on what.
Right, performance agreements that support win-win. Fourth, systems. The environment needs to support it.
Like organizational reward systems. If they reward win-lose, you'll get win-lose.
Precisely. Systems must align with the win-win principle. And finally, fifth, processes. This is how you arrive at win-win.
Separating the person from the problem, focusing on interests, not just positions.
Inventing options for mutual gain. Insisting on objective criteria, like principles or standards. These are key processes. And you know, habits 5 and 6 really flesh these out.
Okay, so win-win is the goal. Habit 5 seems critical for getting there. Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
Absolutely fundamental. This tackles our deep-seated tendency to rush in with our own opinions and advice before we've truly listened.
We listen to reply, not to understand.
Exactly. Most of us haven't been trained in empathetic listening. We spend years learning to read, write, speak, but listening, often neglected.
And people won't be open to our perspective until they feel heard and understood. It's a deep psychological need.
It really is. And
Yeah.
empathetic listening isn't just agreeing or pretending to listen. It's getting inside the other person's frame of reference, seeing the world as they see it, understanding their feelings and their meaning.
Without projecting our own stuff onto them.
Right. Diagnose before you prescribe. Like a good doctor, understanding the symptoms before suggesting treatment. It requires real security in yourself to listen without judgment, to be open to being influenced.
You see this in effective professionals, right? Salespeople understanding needs, lawyers understanding the case.
Exactly. They diagnose first. And while empathetic listening might feel slower initially,
It saves huge amounts of time later by avoiding misunderstandings and building trust.
absolutely, it builds the emotional bank account dramatically. But it's only half the equation.
Right, then seek to be understood. You need courage as well as consideration.
Precisely. Win-win requires both. Covey brings in the Greek concepts: ethos, pathos, logos.
Ethos is your credibility, your character, the trust people have in you. Pathos is the feeling, the emotional connection. Logos is the logic, the reasoning.
And the sequence is critical. Egos first, people trust you. Then pathos, you connect emotionally, showing you understand their perspective. Then logos, you present your logical case.
We often jump straight to logos, but without ethos and pathos, it falls flat.
Often, yes, build the trust and connection first. Then present your ideas clearly, specifically, visually if possible, and frame them in terms of the listener's concerns and benefits.
And the great thing about seeking first to understand, it's entirely within my control. I can start doing it right now.
You can. As Pascal said, the heart has its reasons which reason knows not of. Habit 5 is about understanding those reasons.
Which leads us to the peak. Habit 6. Synergize. What is synergy exactly?
Synergy is when the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It's 1 + 1 = 3 or 10 or 100. It's creative cooperation.
Where the combined effort produces something far better than anyone could have done alone.
Exactly. It's the highest manifestation of all the other habits working together. It's about valuing differences and creating something new, something better that wasn't there before.
So it's not just compromise?
No, compromise is often 1 + 1 = 1.5. Both sides give something up. Synergy is about finding a third alternative, often better than either original proposal. It requires high trust and communication. Habits 4 and 5.
Like brainstorming, where ideas build on each other.
That's a form of it. Synergistic communication opens minds to new possibilities. The end result might be unexpected, but it's superior. It unlocks creativity.
And it really relies on valuing the differences between people, different perspectives, experiences, styles.
Absolutely. If two people have the same opinion, one is unnecessary. The key to synergy is valuing those mental, emotional, psychological differences as opportunities, not threats.
Bringing different viewpoints together creates a more complete picture, a better solution.
Precisely. Think about tackling a problem. You have driving forces pushing for change and restraining forces holding it back. Synergy works by increasing the driving forces and decreasing the restraining forces, often through creative, mutually understood solutions.
It builds on all the previous habits: proactivity, vision, prioritization, win-win thinking, empathetic communication.
Yes, it's the culmination. And it can happen in teams, families, or even within yourself as you integrate different perspectives. Edwin Markham's quote captures it.
About committing the golden rule to life.
Yes, a synergy is like the golden rule in action at a creative, collaborative level.
Okay, we've reached the peak, but we need to maintain it. Habit 7, sharpen the saw.
The habit of renewal. It's about consistently taking time to renew yourself in the 4 key dimensions of life: physical, spiritual, mental, and social emotional.
Like the woodcutter who's too busy sawing to stop and sharpen his saw. Eventually, he becomes ineffective.
Exactly. Neglecting renewal leads to burnout and decreased effectiveness in all the other habits. We need to invest in maintaining our own PC, our production capability.
Let's touch on each dimension. Physical.
Exercise, nutrition, rest, stress management, taking care of your body. Even 30 minutes of exercise daily makes a huge difference. It's quadrant 2, important, rarely urgent, so requires proactivity.
Spiritual dimension.
Connecting with your core values, your center, your purpose. Finding inspiration. This can be through meditation, prayer, nature, music, art, reading inspiring texts, reviewing your mission statement. It provides leadership and perspective to your life. Again, a quadrant 2 activity needing dedicated time.
Mental dimension.
Continuous learning, expanding your mind, reading broadly, writing, planning, visualizing, seeking out new ideas, keeping mentally sharp, not letting your mind atrophy after formal schooling ends.
And social emotional.
This is largely renewed through habits 4, 5, and 6. Win-win, understanding, synergy. Nurturing relationships, making emotional deposits, developing intrinsic security based on principles, not others' opinions. Service to others is key here, too,
And these dimensions are all interconnected.
deeply. Neglect one, and it impacts the others. Improve one, and it tends to lift the others. Balanced renewal is synergistic. Your mission statement should ideally address renewal in all four areas.
And the daily private victory.
That's Covey's recommendation, dedicating about an hour each day, perhaps early morning, to renewal across the physical, spiritual, and mental dimensions. It's a powerful way to build the foundation for the habits and for effective interactions, the daily public victory.
It creates an upward spiral of growth. Learn, commit, do, repeat.
Exactly. Continuous improvement, learning more, committing at a deeper level, doing more effectively. That's the path of growth. Gandhi's quote fits well.
They cannot take away our self-respect if we do not give it to them. Renewal builds that inner core.
It does. So, wrapping up, the power here is recognizing that space between stimulus and response. We can choose. We can live inside out.
Changing ourselves, our character, our paradigms first, rather than just trying to change attitudes or behaviors on the surface.
Yeah, that's where real change happens. Achieving unity within ourselves and harmony with others. That's the promise of living these habits. It's a journey of integrity built on principles, balancing doing with improving our ability to do.
It's not a quick fix.
Definitely not. It's a lifelong commitment. But the principles are timeless. We heard powerful echoes in quotes from Sadat on changing thought, Emerson on practice making things easier, Eliot on deeper knowing, Thoreau on elevating life, Johnson on inner contentment, MLK on inner conviction, McKay on soul battles, and Goethe on potential.
A profound collection of wisdom reinforcing these ideas.
Indeed.
So this deep dive into the 7 habits has given us a framework for effectiveness based on character and principles. We've gone from understanding paradigms to the need for constant renewal.
A powerful journey. And for you, the listener, maybe a final thought to ponder.
Right.
Consider which one of these 7 habits really resonates with you right now. Which one speaks most directly to your current challenges or aspirations?
Mm-hmm.
And then ask, what's one small proactive step, just one thing you could take today to start integrating that habit more fully into your life? How can you start moving up your own upward spiral?
That's a great takeaway. Focus on one small step. We hope you'll reflect on these ideas and see how they can apply in your own world. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.